Welcome to the Studio 300 Maker Lab training for machine embroidery. Embroidery is a great way to personalize clothes and linens to gift and to keep. You can also make patches, freestanding lace, and other creative projects like quilting. We will be discussing the basics of using an embroidery machine, tips for having a successful stitch out, common issues and fixes, and where to find additional resources. As with all our maker machines, you can book the embroidery machine ahead of time for up to 4 hours. Walk-ins are also accepted when the machine is available. Time cannot be guaranteed beyond 4 hours, so check in with staff if your design is taking longer than expected. Staff cannot keep your project hooped overnight, and rehooping may produce undesirable results. When you first come for your appointment, stop by the front desk and show staff your library card. You will need to bring the fabric or garment that you intend to embroider on. Thread and interfacing will be provided for you and is included in the cost of $1 per design. We do not charge for use of the machine, only materials. You'll also be provided embroidery hoops, embroidery hoop guides, spool caps and netting, scissors, seam rippers, tweezers, pins, measuring tape and ruler, and tailor's chalk. The power button for most sewing and embroidery machines will be located on its side. Once the screen powers on, tap the touchscreen. You will then be prompted to remove the hoop so the machine can calibrate itself. For best practices, make sure the presser foot is raised whenever the machine is not actively embroidering. This will allow more space to move around the needle plate as you thread the needle and install your hoop. This machine encourages this practice because whenever the presser foot is down, a cover slides over to protect the take-up lever, which will then prevent you from threading your machine unless the presser foot is in the upright position. When you want to begin threading, it is important to ensure the needle is in its highest position. To do so, press the needle button once or twice. With both the presser foot and needle raised, the thread is able to be caught between the tension discs. It will also help to provide protection from snagging your garment or yourself on the sharp needle. Always proceed with caution. If you do injure yourself, immediately alert a staff member. When making any physical changes to the machine while it's on, press the presser foot/needle exchange key. This locks all other buttons on the machine to avoid accident or injury. The top thread of the machine is what will form your embroidery design. Studio 300 offers a range of colors in both polyester and viscose threads. If you choose to bring in your own thread, please ensure that it was made specifically for machine embroidery. Different sized thread spools require different spool caps to keep them in place. If the spool has teeth to wind loose thread, place that end at the base to keep the thread from catching. Place the spool on the spool pin and apply the appropriately sized spool cap. This will keep the thread from winding around the spool pin. Follow the numbered thread guides carefully, as this will ensure the thread gets caught between the tension discs. To get the thread through the take-up lever on step 4, it may be easier to hold it taut between two hands and use your left hand to guide it through. After bringing the thread down towards the needle, again, hold the thread taut between your two hands, this time using your right hand to guide it through and into the hook. Now it's time to thread the needle. First, make sure the end of your thread is neat and unfrayed by using the snips to cut cleanly. Then, pass it through the eye of the needle. Tweezers might help to pull the thread through this tight space. Once the needle is threaded, pull the end through and to the rear of the machine. If you would like to use the needle threader, continue following the numbered thread guide. Then, pull it over the blade of step 8 to cut the thread. You will need to lower the presser foot to make room for the threader. Finally, you must carefully but firmly pull the lever down. There will be some resistance, but as long as the needle is upright and the presser foot lowered, the spring-loaded automatic threader should pass a loop through the eye of the needle. With the presser foot lowered, it will be hard to pull the thread as it is now caught between the tension discs. Lift the presser foot to easily pull the thread through and to the rear of the machine. Pre-wound white threaded bobbins will be provided and are sufficient for most projects. To thread the bobbin, release the bobbin cover. Insert the bobbin in the bobbin case so that the thread unwinds counterclockwise and to the left. Hold the bobbin in place with your right hand and use your left to follow the thread guide and catch the thread in the tension spring. Pull the thread across the blade to cut, then replace the bobbin cover. The machine is now threaded and ready to begin. There are several different size hoops to choose from. There's the 1 by 2.5 inch or 25 millimeter by 60 millimeter, the 4 by 4 inch or 100 by 100 millimeter, and the 5 by 7 inch or 130 by 180 millimeter. There is also a 5 by 12 inch or 130 by 300 millimeter hoop available, though this is a special case and actually behaves as two 5 by 7 hoops by splitting a larger design in two. It is best to choose as small of a hoop as will fit your design to ensure that excess material isn't being needlessly stretched. There are also several different stabilizers to choose from, depending on the demands of your project. There's a helpful guide included with the stabilizers, and test patches to help you choose what will work best for you. Most projects will require the most basic and most sturdy option, cutaway stabilizer. To hoop your fabric or garment, you will need to make a sandwich between the inner and outer hoops. Place the outer hoop flat against a sturdy surface. Then, place the stabilizer, followed by the fabric or garment. Place the inner hoop on top with the inner rim facing down for maximum stability. Loosen the screw on the outer hoop and press in the inner hoop. It may take several tries to evenly hoop the material. The hooped material does not have to be drum tight, just secure. Although it may be tempting, try not to smooth out wrinkles by pulling on the material outside the hoop. Once everything is together, tighten the screw to keep everything in place, but be careful not to over-tighten. Now that your material is hooped and the machine is threaded, it's time to attach the hoop to the machine. If you look on the side of the embroidery arm, you will see this piece of metal with two nibs on it. You want to line up those nibs with the indentations on the side of the hoop. After lining up those slots, you can push on this metal lever and allow the hoop to drop into place. Smooth out any material to keep it out of the way of the needle, and make sure the hoop is flush with the base of the machine. When you need to release the hoop, simply pull back that same lever and lift the hoop from the machine. Some projects may need special hooping considerations. If your material is too dense or delicate to be hooped, you may need to float your project. If you want your design somewhere specific on your garment, you will need to more carefully consider how to position your hoop. Tutorials on these techniques are available online and can be found linked in the description below. Now that you know how to use the machine, it's time to choose a design. There are many possibilities when choosing an embroidery design, and this section will go over a few of the options available to you. The machine itself has several designs stored in its internal memory, which you can see here. This includes holiday and decorative designs. Feel free to browse at your leisure. There are also two decorative fonts for monogramming. The text tool offers several different fonts for more simple monograms and text. Select a font, then type out your words. If the length and size of text exceeds the hoop area, you will be prompted to rotate the design 90 degrees to fit. You can choose a smaller text size in the lower left where it lists large, medium, and small. You can also ensure you have the 5x7 hoop selected, which will be the leftmost option under the text box. There are different numbers and characters to select as well. When your text is finished, select Set. If you are planning on importing a design, keep in mind Brother machines read .pes format. If you have your own design ready, you can bring it in on a flash drive and plug it directly into the machine. Embroidery machines can't handle the faster speeds of new flash drives, so make sure the flash drive is a USB 2.0 and 16 gigabytes or less. If you are unsure, the type of USB port is generally marked by the color inside. 3.0 is blue, 2.0 is black. If you do not have a compatible USB drive, one will be available for you to transfer your design onto. When importing designs, tap the Pocket button from the Start screen. This first option is the Brother Pocket, which is where designs are saved and stored internally. There are some staff projects here, but patron designs will not be kept here. To import a design from your USB, choose the second option. Some designs are preloaded onto the studio's USB, so feel free to browse. This is also how you will access your own flash drive. When you come in for your appointment, you will also receive an SSD with our Embroidery Design collection that includes over 20,000 designs. Take some time to explore this vast collection, which has designs ranging from monograms to plants and animals to fashionable embroidered accents to add to blouses and tops. To explore the Embroidery Design collection, simply plug in the SSD. Our MacBooks are installed with the Embrilliance thumbnailer, so designs will automatically display while you navigate the thematically organized folders. If you want to get a closer look at any design, double-click to open it in the Embrilliance software. In Embrilliance, you'll be able to see exactly how many color changes there are, as well as the size of the design. You can also adjust the scale of the design, though I recommend no more than 20% in any direction. If you do adjust the scale, you can save the design by selecting File, Save Stitch File. Rename the design and save it to an easy-to-find location. If you're looking for designs of a specific size based on the hoop you'd like to use, you can utilize the 2-stitch thumbnailer. In the System folder of the SSD, download the 2stitch.dmg file. Once downloaded, move the software to the Applications and open it. With this program, you can move entire folders over to this box here to generate their thumbnails. I recommend working with smaller folders as it will take time to generate each thumbnail. Once generated, you can limit the size here to say 4 by 4 inches to fit the 4 by 4 frame. Then scroll until you see something you like. Once you find a design, you can right-click and select Show in Finder to find that exact design. Once you've found a design, just click and drag it onto a compatible USB. When you find a design you like, you may rename it to make it more discernible and easy to find. If you double-click the design, it will open automatically in the Brilliance Embroidery program, where you can get a closer look. If everything looks good, you can send it directly to the machine over Wi-Fi. Click Utility from the top menu and select Send to Solaris/XP1. This may be confusing, but when the feature was first added to Embrilliance, the only machines with Wi-Fi connectivity were the Solaris and XP1. It will ask you for a design name. Simply type in what you did when you renamed the file and click OK. It will take a moment before a dialog box appears saying there was an error sending file. This is okay. As long as the machine is on and connected to Wi-Fi, it probably received the file. Alternatively, just copy the design to the available USB drive. Be sure to add it to the folder titled Working Folder so staff can clear your file when you're finished. Then just click the eject button and remove the USB. To import designs transferred over Wi-Fi, choose the third option in the Pocket menu. This is where designs sent over Wi-Fi are temporarily stored. You can then select Set to prepare your design. Brother offers many designs in their Artspira app. You can download this app on your own smart device so you can explore its offerings at home. The studio also has a tablet with the Artspira application downloaded, available upon request. When you open the app, you can see that it offers free embroidery designs as well as free cutting and sublimation files that are compatible with our other maker machines. There are also many projects to look through and find inspiration from. To connect the app to the machine, navigate to the last page of the settings where it says Artspira. The ID will list the current account linked to the machine. If you're using the studio's tablet, make sure the ID reads Studio 300. If you'd like to connect your personal device, tap the Change button. The machine will now instruct you to navigate through the Artspira app. In the app, tap the Machine Settings button in the upper right corner. Under Embroidery Machine, tap Connect. Select Wireless LAN Model. The app will then prompt you to navigate through the machine settings. Hit Next until the app asks for the machine number. Add the machine number listed on page 3 of the Artspira app settings. The app will then generate a PIN number to be entered into the machine. Now you can return to the machine settings. Tap the right arrow on the machine until prompted to enter the PIN number. Copy the PIN number from the Artspira app. After tapping OK, the machine will take a moment to connect to the app. Once connected, the machine should display your personal ID in the settings. When you've finished embroidering for the day, you can delete your ID from the machine's connection so that it is ready for the next patron. To search for free embroidery designs, let's scroll back up and tap See All. Feel free to browse their collection in the comfort of your own home. When you find a design you like, tap to select. You will then be provided all pertinent information such as size, embroidery time, and colors used. If the design suits your needs, tap Create. Within the Edit tool, you can add more designs using the plus button. To use the Text tool, tap the T. Then simply type out your text. To move a part of the design, you can tap, select Move, and options to rotate, move, and flip appear. Or just click and drag. Artspira also offers a wider variety of fonts, so you can change the text to suit your style. You can also endlessly scale and change your character spacing on your text. Once you are happy with your design, you can transfer it to the machine over Wi-Fi. To do so, tap the Done in the upper right corner. It will prompt you to save. You can save designs temporarily, but staff will clear out patron projects for privacy reasons. Name the design and click Save. From there, you can transfer the design to the machine. To import the design, again, tap the Pocket button and select the last option, the Cloud button. It may take a moment, but your design should appear. You can then tap Set and prepare your design. If you have a custom image, you can have that image converted into a .pes embroidery file by using an online embroidery digitizing service. Just Google Embroidery Digitizing Service, and these online services convert a JPEG, PNG, or AI file into an embroidery file. They usually charge a small fee, and the turnaround can be as little as 24 hours. If you would like to digitize the design yourself, Studio 300 has Embrilliance Stitch Artist 3. This is not an auto-digitizing software, but will allow you to bring in an image as a basis to draw with stitches and create your own design. Keep in mind there is a learning curve to digitizing, and it may take several adjustments and test stitch outs before your design is ready. Tutorials can be found on YouTube from the Embrilliance team and our very own staff. Links can be found in the description below. Now that you've chosen a design, it's time to prepare the embroidery. First, pull up your design on the touchscreen. Once you've selected your design, tap Set. If you tap the Move button, you can nudge the design in any direction to reposition within the hoop. You can also click and drag the design to make more drastic movements. Any movement can be reset by tapping the dot in the center. You can resize the design by tapping Size. While text and shapes from the machine's memory will scale well, it is not advisable to change the size of other designs more than 90% in any direction. This is because the stitches have been carefully calculated and may become too dense or too loose when resized this way. Any resizing can be reset by tapping the square in the bottom left corner. If you tap Rotate, you can rotate the design by 90 degrees, or by smaller increments of 10 degrees or 1 degree at a time. Tap Reset to undo any changes. The last button in this top row is the Color Change button. From here, you can browse through color options to get an approximate thread match. This will help you preview what your design will look like, as well as remind you what exact colors to change to while embroidering. With the first color set, tap the plus button to move to the second color. Once you've made your changes, tap OK. The button with two triangles is the flip button. Tap or untap to toggle the flip. The next button is the density button. You can only change density on simple shapes and text within the machine's memory. It will be grayed out if your design density cannot be changed. Tapping the Font Edit button will allow you to return to the text tool if needed. The Add button will allow you to add different designs, text, or shapes from the main menu. Tapping Select will cycle through designs if you have multiple on screen. Whatever's surrounded in the red box is what you currently have selected. In the top left, the button with the hoop icon will give you a detailed preview of your design. The magnifying glass will allow you to zoom in up to 300% to make it easier to see your design as you edit. When you have finished editing your design, tap the Edit End button. The arrows in this view allow you to shift the center of your design in any direction. This is helpful if you need to line up the design with an exact position on your garment. The button with the 3 thread spools is the color sorting button. When possible, this will rearrange the color order so the same color will be used in order and keep you from having to change the thread color many times. You can also still rotate from this screen if needed. To help position your design, tap the button with the dotted square outline. When you tap any one of these buttons, the hoop will move to show you exactly where the needle will land at the corners and center of your design. Tapping the square button here will have the hoop do a full rotation of each point. If you need to make finer adjustments, tap the needle position key. This will change the position of the needle. With the needle position changed, you can then use the move keys on the previous screen to align, say, the top right of your design with reference marks on your garment. When everything is positioned to your liking, tap Embroidery. This screen shows the thread order with an estimated time for each color, as well as an overall duration. If you tap the button with scissors, you can make adjustments to the tension. This is a fairly dense design, so I know I need to go down to about a 2 for tension. Below that button is a stitch plus or minus button. From there, you can jump forwards or backwards in stitch count in increments of 1, 10, or 100 stitches. You can also jump through entire colors. Tapping the 0 button will return you to the start of the embroidery. And now you can begin embroidering. To begin your embroidery, first lower the presser foot and ensure the needle is in the proper position. The arrow key at the front of the machine will be green when it is ready to start. Press the button and let the needle stitch the first couple stitches. Press the same button to pause the machine. To save yourself time cleaning up loose threads in the end, you can trim as you go. First, you will want to lift the presser foot and needle. Now, with the thread safely knotted in place, you can pull out the remainder of the tail and trim it away. Then you can lower the presser foot and resume stitching. If all is well, the machine will continue laying down stitches until that color is complete. When the color is complete, the machine will tie off the end and cut the thread automatically. Then, reposition itself to start the next color. When you're ready to change thread colors, do not immediately pull the spool off the machine. Instead, cut the thread at the start of the thread guides and pull the remaining thread from the needle and out of the machine. Then, you can pull off that first spool, wrap the loose thread, and replace it with the next color. This might seem like it's a waste of thread, but pulling thread backwards through the tension discs can damage the machine and it may no longer maintain proper tension. Please take care when using our machine so it may be used by patrons for years to come. Continue changing threads as necessary, and eventually your design will be complete. The screen will display the message Finished Embroidering, and you can remove the hoop from the machine. Depending on your design, you may need to trim jump stitches. Otherwise, you can simply remove the design from the hoop and admire your new embroidery. The following section will go over some common issues and fixes. But, as a general rule, you'll solve most problems just by rethreading the machine and ensuring the needle and presser foot are positioned correctly. If the spool unwinds too quickly, such as with spools running low and metallic threads, there are thread nets provided to secure the thread and ensure an even feed. Metallic threads are not recommended for beginners, but are available for more practiced embroiderers. To apply the thread net, insert it into the base of the spool. When it peaks at the top, open up the net at the base and fold it over the rest of the spool. This will keep the thread unwinding at an even rate. Then, apply to the spool pin like normal. If the upper thread breaks, the machine may detect it and stop embroidering. If the machine does not detect the breakage, it will continue stitching without thread. It is important to watch the machine to catch problems like this. If stitches have been skipped, tap the stitch count button and jump back until you return to before where the breakage happened. Breakages may also occur if the thread is knotted or getting caught somewhere between the spool and the needle. Double check that the thread is not winding around the spool pin or has skipped over a step in the thread path. Rethread if necessary. If the needle breaks, immediately alert a staff member. Try and find the broken tip of the needle, but be careful not to harm yourself. Staff will dispose of the broken needle and replace it with a fresh one. If the needle breaks more than once, it could be a sign that the tension is too high, the density of stitches is too high, or the amount of fabric you're trying to embroider on is too thick. If breakages keep happening, this could be a sign that the tension is too high and needs to be lowered. One way to check the tension is to check the back of your design. Proper tension will have a small amount of top thread showing on the reverse side. If no top thread is showing, the tension is too high and needs to be lowered. If too much thread is showing, the tension is too low and needs to be raised. If the machine sounds unusual at the start of stitching, it could be bird nesting. Pause the machine immediately. If the hoop is unable to be removed because a knot has formed, you may need to ask staff to get an X-Acto knife to slide under the hoop and cut through the tangle. Bird nesting usually occurs when a step in the thread path is skipped, particularly the take-up lever of step 4. The upper thread tension may also be too low. Carefully remove the bird nest and recheck the machine before starting again. If problems persist, ask a staff member for assistance. If the problem cannot easily be solved, staff may need to shut down the machine for maintenance and you will be unable to complete your design. Otherwise, happy embroidering!